that didn't really meet kind of mass mainstream, but also the fact that you're kind of taking that as a concept and turning it into a digital product.
It's a digital part, but we're constantly, we've only just launched, but we're going to add different bits, and the aim is to, you know, have sort of venues and bars that are SafeDate friendly, and all the staff know, and also it'll come up on their system that people have chosen that place as the date place, so the staff are aware that there's, you know, people in there.
In it for the
so it's kind of, we've launched the initial stage now, but sort of there's loads of different bits we're adding in the next few months.
And do you think this is something that mainly women need? And also, like, talking to you, you know, I think all three of us have had experience of like dating apps, and I'm definitely like tried to be, you know, smart about that when I have used apps. But I'm just wondering, is it more for people who are perhaps on, say, the Killing Kittens site, or are looking for like sexual exploration? Does that put you at a higher risk, or is there actually
because we found actually because of the nature of Killing Kittens, there's that assumption that because of, you know, a lot of the events involve sex and it's all very sexual based, then it must be more dangerous. But actually we get a lot of members using our site like a sort of dating site, and because we have rules in place that the girls make the first rules, that the guys have to be very respectful, that, you know, we monitor, we have all the data and the info about where you're going, and then even at the events, guys can't make the first move. It's all very respectful. So actually we get a lot of members saying they find it safer on ours than sort of the Tinders out there.
Yeah, because you've got an amazing culture. But I've seen on, you know, you always get on those dating apps where you get people who are, you know, they're being very open that they want to have, you know, different sexual experiences, and you might be meeting people via those apps rather than through, you know, an environment like you.
Yeah, exactly. And we did a big survey before we launched it, and something like 1 in 10 people will send, for example, naked photos before they've even met the person, and again 1 in 10 people will organise the date to be at their home before they've met the person. So, and a huge one of 80% of people don't tell friends and family where they're going and that they're going on a date, and it's sort of, it's that part. I mean, it's not a miracle cure, we're not going, we're going to save everyone from any kind of harassment, but if it makes a guy think twice about doing anything because they know that the girl they're going on a date with is logged into SafeDate, and someone is sort of tracking where they're going.
Right today.
Exactly. And guys as well, you know, it could be, you know, 2 guys going on a date. You know, the abuse happens no matter what sort of relationship. You get girls who are really abusive. You know, I've got some guy friends who've had really nasty experiences with nut job girls on that front. It, you know, it's everyone and anyone. And also at the same time, it's because we've done it as a standalone app, it's not necessarily, you know, it doesn't have to be the sex side. It could be teenagers going off on sort of play dates or with friends or the cinema or stuff.
I've got 10-year-olds, and he wants independence now, and I was kind of thinking, how can I use that to enable him to start, not now but in a couple of years, to kind of go off, you know, shopping with his, I don't know, whatever he wants to do. shopping. Shopping. I don't know.
What you're in for a shock.
I don't know how you're in for a shock. He'll probably go off dating, won't he? No. But, you know, go off and actually have the independence. But for me, not to see him like a stalker mum. Actually, that's probably quite
and also he won't have to. We've done it, the big thing with us was that security and the privacy, and a lot of people don't tell friends where they're going because they're embarrassed, or they don't want people to know. And you don't have, when you put your SafeDate people into the app, you don't have to tell them that they're your SafeDate person.
I think that's a really important one, again, taking pride from today, because there are a lot of young people who you know, are experimenting before they come out or decide their sexuality, and a lot of research has shown that the secrecy that they feel they need to operate under may put them at greater risk when they go out, because you know, but I think that's a really a good way for somebody to be reassured that they're not going to be quote unquote outed because they're doing something that they need to do.
Exactly. And the people you put as your safe person, if all goes swimmingly and you check back in, can never know They don't have to ever know that they were your safe person. So that's how, you know, with the teenager and stuff, it works, because you can go, well, just have it, put your details in, put where you're going. I will never know unless you don't check back in.
And also, you don't, sometimes if you're, I don't know, if you've just been divorced, and you don't want to actually announce to all your friends that you're suddenly dating again.
Yeah.
Because that in itself, then suddenly you get all the questions. Oh, how's it going? How did that date go? I mean, I know it happens at any, whether you're single, whether you're not. But actually, it's quite nice to know you can kind of do it in secret, but you've got the protection behind you.
We've got a caller, ladies.
Oh.
Brian from Sunderland is calling. Hello, Brian.
Hi there. I really enjoy listening to the Badass Show. It's really good.
Thanks, Brian.
I love it, It's really good. So
Thanks,
I thought I'd say hello and everything.
Yay.
I was going to mention about dating, right? Anybody, especially for women, it's probably better to go on a date during the daytime. If you're going to go on a date with somebody, probably make it on a Saturday afternoon or maybe a Sunday.
But I'm too busy to go during the day, Brian. I'm too busy to go. I'm too busy to go on a date during the day. I want to go on an evening date, and I want to feel safe.
Oh, right. Well, I suppose there's nothing wrong with that if you feel confident enough. But I just think if I was a female, obviously I would probably want to go on a date during the daytime where you feel more safer.
Yeah. Do you think we should just keep women to go out during daylight hours and that's it? I mean, we're fine in the summer, aren't we?
Well, it depends how confident you are, really. But probably we meet up in a shopping mall where there's different restaurants. You can go different places and and try out different things. And instead of meeting in a secluded area. And obviously have your mobile phone with you and everything, and make sure you've got plenty of credit on, make sure you've got a taxi number ready in your phone to ring up if it doesn't go very well. But I've been on a couple of dates myself, and I went on a couple of dates and I've been really sensible and that, and I've got on really well with the women and that, and give them a peck on the cheek and that. And some of them have obviously said, do you want to come back to me flat? And I'm thinking, I've only just met you for the first time. I don't really want to go on your flat right away kind of thing. I want to get to know you as a person.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's good, Brian. I think what you can use, Emma Sayle's SafeDate next time. Yeah, log in your details there. But thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. I do think he has a point in terms of actually, do we have a responsibility? I'm thinking of my kids actually, to teach our children how to date properly.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's I was never taught how to date properly, but I do think there's so it meant that when I did a little bit of sorry, my mic's going. When I did a little bit of dating a couple of years ago, I didn't really know where to start, and I made a couple of mistakes.
But you never do.
You never do. But I also, even at 35, didn't do stuff.
Trust me, at 60 you don't.
I didn't go about it in a safe way.
Yeah.
And actually, we do have a bit of responsibility to at least highlight to people certain things, and maybe this is where this app could come in.
So when was the app launched, Emma?
Last Monday. So we had a sort of a soft launch for a month before, where we just had it was live and people were testing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, officially last week. And then, as I said, we're constantly tweaking and getting feedback back. And because we've got a big sort of community ourselves, it's quite straightforward, and it's mainly women. We're using that a lot of sort of live feedback from all the girls out and about.
Wow. Well, look, thank you for coming on the show, and let's download the app SafeDate, and let's do safe dating, and more coming up after the break.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
A radio star is born.
You're going to love
Talk Radio.
When Dave met Steve, sparks flew. When Barry met Gary, the foundations were laid. When Fred met Alex, they knew it would work. And they all met thanks to SuperSubby.com. For subcontractors looking for contractors and contractors looking for subbies, Super Subby finds the perfect match by skills, location and trade. It's free for subbies with a 3-month free trial for contractors. So download the app from the App Store and Google Play, or visit SuperSubby.com. Super Subby, the new, smarter way to find site work or workers.
Summer's here. Don't miss a drop. Get outdoors with the Land Rover Summer Sales event from the 6th to the 8th of July. Enjoy 15% off all accessories and an additional £1,500 deposit contribution with 5.9% APR representative PCP finance. Search Land Rover Sales event. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Selected models only. Credit subject to status. UK 18+ only. Terms and conditions apply. Black Horse Limited trading as Land Rover Financial Services. 15% off all accessories. Purchased alongside a vehicle between the 6th and 8th of July 2018. Subject to availability. At participating retailers only.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In July, we've got a Padsload IM65 nailer kit for just £439.99 ex-VAT, plus £70 worth of free brads, plus an extra battery and cleaner. Now that's a real deal. We've got even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse. For more information, go to selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
Talk Radio, traffic and travel.
Good evening. Starting in Essex, the M25 anti-clockwise has a lane closed following an earlier vehicle fire. That's between Waltham Abbey and Enfield. Traffic there is busy but moving. In Berkshire, the M4 has a lane closed. That's due to a two-car accident westbound between Maidenhead and Wokingham. There's also gravel and oil on the road there. Traffic is looking very slow. Moving into Padstow, Cornwall, the A389 is closed due to an accident. That's both ways between the B3276 and U Street. I'm Scott Davidson.
Morning, Joe.
Morning, Mo.
Was your house built slap bang in the middle of Mo Farah's daily running route? No? Great! Then why not use Yopa to sell your home? You get your own dedicated local estate agent who'll sell your home in no time at all. See what I did there, Mo?
Yeah, good one.
You're most welcome. That's not as good. Book a free home valuation at yopa.co.uk. Yopa. Seriously, why not? Terms apply.
Badass Women's Hour XL on Talk Radio.
She'll get you talking.
Welcome back to the Badass Women's Hour XL here on Talk Radio. My name's Emma Sexton, and we've got some interesting music. That was This Is Your Life music, because my usual co-hosts Natalie Campbell and Harriet Minter went on holiday, but I drafted in a couple of legends. The first legend is Deborah James, aka Bal Babe.
Legend?
Sound not legend? You are a legend?
No, I like that. Bal Babe is.
But then the second legend is Trisha Goddard. And thanks for joining us on the show this week, Trisha.
Because of the music.
I know, but we thought we can't have a legend that is Trisha on the show without giving some time to have a proper chat with you, Trisha. Mm-hmm. So we're going to use this next segment to find out a bit more about you, because I don't know about you, Deborah.
I can't wait.
The vicious look on her face.
Vicious. I think I grew up with you, Trisha, well, not literally, not in your house.
I just remember you appearing on TV with the Trisha Show and loving that.
Yes,
but what I want to know is, how did you get to having your own headline show on British TV? Because that you sort of came out of nowhere for me, really, and I just think that's an amazing, badass achievement. But what's the background? What was the build-up to you getting the Trisha Show?
Oh my gosh, I've done many things. I was in an all-girl band. I was a hovercraft.
You didn't grow up in the UK, right?
Yeah.
You did?
Mainly in the sometime in Tanzania, in East Africa, and then in Norfolk, which may or may not be in the UK.
Where were you born?
I was born in Hackney.
Were you? So you were a Hackney girl originally.
Straight up, darling, straight up. Trouble and strife. Yeah, and my parents, or the people who brought me up, my mother and the man I thought was my dad. My mum was West Indian, Windrush. Came over to help the National Health Service. And my dad was also a nurse, so both psych nurses. And dad was white and mum was black. Except Dad turned out not to be my dad, but that's another story. I had there were four of us, and so myself, and then my three half-sisters. And I only just realised Dad said that when he was looking for accommodation for him and Mum, he was obliged to tell people that his wife was coloured, and so was turned away from many places. And eventually it was he told me this, he said it was a Jewish person. The Jewish were really good to us because I suppose Jewish people in that time had felt persecution themselves. But eventually, when I was 5, we went to Central East Africa.
What was what made the move to go to Central East Africa?
A bit Mosquito Coast. My dad was very adventurous, had travelled a lot when he'd been in the armies. And thank God he did. It was a fantastic childhood. You know, when we came back to England, we were incredulous that kids cried when they fell over. Because this was Africa of the early 60s. We used to wear hair ribbons in our hair in case one of us got bitten by a snake. And my youngest, now my late sister.
What would the hair ribbons do?
For a tourniquet. We were taught how to do tourniquets.
Oh, see, it was like a carrot, like a...
Yeah, you wore hair ribbons in your hair. And Winnie, my youngest sister, got bitten by a snake, and I knew what to do. I would have been, about 5 or 6. Tourniquet, wind up the phone, call the hospital, knew how to ask for it. Because we had house girls and house boys, we call them, were basically servants. Well, it sounds very grand, but it wasn't. I went back in 1984 when I covered the Women's Conference in Nairobi. I went back to the house where I grew up in, and things hadn't changed much. And my dad, they still had the books he wrote, and I mean an aligned exercise book. When he went out there, it was when Tanganyika became Tanzania, and he worked in a hospital for the criminally insane. Wow. Followed up tales of somebody being possessed by devils. They tracked them down, and it was mental illness. And gosh, I've got some fantastic memories from that. But that's partially where my resilience came from, being the only child of colour. Africa being absolutely free and wild and tough, then coming back to Norfolk and facing bullying that I didn't realise until much later in my life had a very, very profound effect on me. Racial bullying.
Right, okay.
In your teenagers, or what kind of...
The effect point? When I had my breakdown, I was going through my breakdown in my 30s.
Oh, so it came back.
I didn't even know it had been an issue, but a lot of the self-talk and the way I saw myself was because the kids bullied us with the N-word.
How old were you when you moved back to Norfolk?
About 9.
Right, okay, yeah.
Just basically beaten up most days. And then a teacher, I remember a chap knocked a tray out of my hand at lunchtime, and my food went on the floor, and I went back, it's a bit Oliver Twist, and said, can I have some more? She said, no, you've had your dinner. And the kids laughed, and I ran out and cried, went crying, and I sat down on the step outside, and this teacher, I can see him now, I sat down next to me, he said, you know, you've got to toughen up. You've got, in this country, we don't really want you people here, and if you're going to live here, you've got to...
You were 9, and someone said that to you, and you were aged 9.
And Mum came to the school to confront the bullies and said, point them out. And she said, you never did. I said,
Thanks,
you know, but I didn't really want to tell them, my parents, because I thought it was my fault, you know. And it affected my half sister. I remember her being locked in, because we were really further ahead than other kids, because we'd been in a really strict school in Africa run by Australians, and we were way ahead. We did Latin, we did French, we spoke Swahili, we'd read and what have you. But I remember apparently my sister had been talking in class, and they locked her in a classroom, and for years I had the memory of climbing up the wall with my nails, getting as high as I could, and looking in and knocking on the window, hoping that she'd look up and see me. And it was until I talked about it in therapy, it was my nightmare that reoccurred for 35 years.
Wow. And how did you get into, so how did you go from that upbringing, how did you use that, because then you started writing?
I always wrote. I was actually a runner-up 2 years running in the BBC's Young Film Director of the Year when I was in my teens. One of the other runners-up was a chap who made these stupid plasticine things.
What, he made Morph?
No, Nick Parks.
Oh, really?
And we met at something at Buckingham Palace, and we went to John Craven and said, hello, we were both runners-up. And he said, in Young Film Director of the Year. And he said, well, he said, yes. And he said, wow. And we said, who won that year? And he said, I don't know. We said, exactly. I always made films. It was my dream. It was my dream. And I remember saying that to Mum once and saying I'd never be able to do it. And she took me out. It was snowing. And I was hassling her. And she said, you see that snow there? Nobody tread in that snow. And she pushed me. Now you tread in that snow. And that's always, I told my daughters that. Just because no one's trodden in the snow doesn't mean to say you can't be the first.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So you went from wanting to make films.
I always did. Never thought I could. Didn't go to university. Working class kids did not go to university. My friends did. I was at a very posh, great school. Just did loads of jobs. Air hostess, hovercraft hostess, got sick at sea. Air hostess based in the Middle East, loved it. always doing my writing. Eventually, I ended up in Australia. I did a course where I was taught by Kate Adie, and she said to me, have you ever thought of being in front of the camera? I said, no, don't be silly. And I did. But in Australia, I was the first person of colour ever in the history of television to be on TV, which I didn't realise.
Wow,
until I got KKK written on my door.
Really?
No, well, not just all the shock jocks were. It went mad. But I've been called worse. You know, it wasn't. You know. But
so you're on TV in Australia then?
I got headhunted by Anglia Television because when my second marriage broke up. Hard to keep count. I'd come back to England and gone around with my tape to 2 places and then gave up. I was so depressed, and somebody gave it to somebody. I had my own production company in Australia and did my own show, a health and social welfare talk show in Australia. Somebody saw the tape. When Vanessa left, they contacted me.
Vanessa Feltz?
I landed on the Friday, had the weekend. Luckily, Monday was bank holiday, August 31st. And I started the next day and did it until I did it all through my breast cancer. So would have gone through to 2009. First at ITV and then at Channel 5. Channel 5 with my own production company again.
And then you went over to America, didn't you?
I was asked to be I trained along the way. I always skill up. I trained in conflict resolution, NLP. Yeah. And I was invited to the Maury Show to do conflict resolution for guests.
Oh, okay.
So I did up to 20 appearances a year for a couple of years, and they said, you rate so well, come over here. Fantastic. So I'm now based in
You've been there ever since, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I'm not doing the show still because all sorts of stuff happened. Marriage number 3 went down the pan. Just hung on to my eyesight and stuff like that, you know. So, yeah, I love it there. I'm in Connecticut and I've got good friends. Got a boyfriend now.
Is he based over there?
Sorry?
He's based over there?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to give too much away because sometimes I blab too much, but his first wife passed away with breast cancer, and he and I have, you know, I'm not going to kibosh it, but there's something that comes from, and you'd know this when it's a whole new mindset.
Yeah.
And it does change the way and what you choose to deal with, not deal with, how you see life.
I was going to ask you that question in terms of, because I know we've talked a lot about cancer, but what did it do for you in terms of what did you do differently because of having cancer?
What am I doing differently? Wow, lots of things. Actually, it made me cling on to something that I should not have clung on to. It made me stay in a situation that was not good for me because I was too scared. And especially with age, you think, who wants to date a 60-year-old broad, you know? Lots. There's weird people out there.
but then how do you get the resilience to go, no, actually this isn't right for me?
I'm
going to go.
My kids will tell you that. I went down a deep rabbit hole. I lost so much weight. I thought I looked good. I lost so much weight. I got I didn't slip into depression, but I was on the ground. I was on the ground, and I went to a vile place, and it affected my children as well. And as a mother, you always feel guilty about that.
But you got yourself back
slowly, clawing me way out of the pit.
And it's hard, I'm sure.
Yeah, people always think you just bounce back.
But has your experience now, being older, being through what you've been through, did that change your mindset around dating? Like, would you marry again? You know,
God! One of my daughters said this, Mum, not saying you'd get married. After all, it'd be the 4th time. If I was a bloke, no one would say. I do believe that many of us have different stages of our lives and different partners that fit into that stage of life.
That's what I think. I feel like I need a man per decade, Trisha. Do you think?
Well, per decade, that's pushing it a bit. I mean, my
7
marriage,
years,
at least,
isn't it?
Is it 7 years?
No,
Mine
was they're saying longer. Mine was 20 years, the last one. So I mean, first one I was only married for a year, though we were together for 6. Oh no, the first one, 3 months. Silly me. Then, so 20 years the last one. Look, the person I'm with at this age is absolutely the person I need to be. It's the first time I've dated someone older than me, who's younger than me.
Okay.
Because I've always dated younger guys who seemed older. First time I've ever dated a man, and this is one for entrepreneurs. When you're the major breadwinner, whether you like it or not, it affects your relationship. This is the first time I've dated someone who out-earns me, and yes, it makes a massive difference. There's a talk subject for you,
there is,
for entrepreneurs. It's very hard for men to accept if you're out-earning them.
Do you feel like that's affected your previous relationship?
Absolutely.
The fact that you were the main breadwinner?
Absolutely. Somebody asked me what my main Jamie used to ask me what my main expenses were. I've been ruled.
Did you be on the Jamie show?
I am, and I will be all the way through the month. Yeah, Jamie asked me what was my greatest expense, not counting houses and things like that. I said husbands.
Of course, because you're the main breadwinner and then getting the divorce. Are you all for prenups now then, are you?
Yeah, because you know what's unfair? Sorry, I'm going to have a quick whinge. 50-50 people say, but when you are the mother and you do most of the childcare and or everything that mums do, you cook, you do the shopping, you do everything else, and no, I did not have wall-to-wall nannies, and you're the major wage earner, how do you give 50% to somebody
who doesn't do anything
or doesn't do as
very
much?
Little. Yeah,
you do 75%, they do 25%. That's not 50-50. Yeah. So anyway, and that's equality is, I believe, balanced. It's balanced into who does what. But yeah, it was a major factor in my past relationships. And I'm sorry, I couldn't now date somebody who did not earn as much as me, didn't work as hard as me, didn't put in as much as me. Never again.
So what would you tell 18-year-old Trisha now, looking back?
Run.
Don't look back.
No, live unapologetically. Live, because one day you may be faced with the prospect of tomorrow not being there necessarily, and boy, will you want to live. So grab hold of it and do whatever you need to do, but experience life.
That's really good advice.
I think that's great. That resonates with me a lot, actually. When you don't know what the future looks like, grab it.
If it feels, both
grab
hands
today.
and your mouth.
If you want to talk to Trisha, do call us. You can call on 0344 499 1000. Call in, talk to Trisha. You've got an opportunity here to speak to an incredible badass woman. I'm absolutely honoured to have you join us on the show.
You'll be inundated with ex-husbands.
Yeah. And everyone can listen to you on the Jamie Show, can't they? At 1 o'clock daily. Or tweet at TalkRadio, or text your message to 87222. It's 25p per message on top of your standard network rate. Coming up now, we've got the news, and then after the news, we're going to be talking to an image and style consultant. So do you need to look good to be a leader and get ahead in the game? That's what we're going to be asking. I'm wondering about this. I'm like, can we just turn up in a tracksuit and still get ahead in work?
Now I'm worried.
Yeah, well, we're already badass enough.
It's the first thing we said. Maybe we need to go and see her.
Yeah.
So coming up after the break, image consultant Lizzie Edwards.
Talk Radio, 24-hour radio debate and entertainment.
Talk Radio.
We'll get you talking.
To the McCulloch man, his McCulloch lawnmower is like the finest footballers across Europe coming together to get the job done. And the morning challenge of the tough, unruly grass facing him, that's like the local pub team. Pathetic. He'll cut them down to size long before the midday kickoff. Game over. Get your McCulloch lawnmower and other garden power tools at good DIY stores nationwide or at McCulloch.com. McCulloch, the power to get the job done.
This summer, follow the sun, not the crowd. With the Jaguar Summer Sales Event from the 6th to the 8th of July, enjoy 15% off all accessories and an additional £1,500 deposit contribution with 5.9% APR representative PCP finance. Search Jaguar Sales Event. Jaguar, the art of performance.
Selected models only. Credit subject to status. UK 18+ only. Terms and conditions apply. Black Horse Limited trading is Jaguar Financial Services. 15% off all accessories. Purchased alongside a vehicle between the 6th and 8th of July 2018. Subject to availability. At participating retailers only.
Harry Kane. Bang! This World Cup is getting better and better. The goals are getting better. The drama is getting greater. The goal of the night to crown the night.
The World Cup that keeps on giving.
What a finale! Super show from Russia now. When the pressure was on, right at the very end, he took the coolest of kicks.
The World